Aloha! My name is Bob McDermott. I'm a state representative from Ewa Beach, and this is McDermott's Message, a semi-routine video blog, if you will, that we send out to the community. Today, I am so lucky to have with me as a guest a good friend of mine and truly a leader in the Ewa Beach community, president of Ewa Beach Lions Club, a guy who always wants to help his fellow man. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kurt Fevella, head of the Ewa Beach Lions Club.
Thanks, Kurt. Well, thank you.
You're the president of the Lions Club.
Yes, yes.
Now, let me tell you a little something about Kurt Fevella. The day after I got elected, well, probably 3 days, it was a Saturday. Got elected Tuesday, it's a Saturday. This guy right here, Mr. Fevella, calls me up at 7:30 on a Saturday morning. He says, Bob, there's a homeless guy at Howbush who needs your help. He needs to get on base, and I know you can help facilitate the base access. So I'd like to come pick you up in about 10 minutes and go down and meet this guy. He was testing me. He was testing me to see if I would help and to see if I was all BS or shabai, right? But it turned out we got the guy. What was his name again? Do you remember?
Yeah, Bolo.
Bolo, we got Bolo through your efforts and a little help from me. We got him a job. What was he making, like 20 bucks an hour or something?
No, not even close. 34.
$34
Yeah, when he
an
came
hour.
down from the neighbor islands and he was working and something happened with this, September 11th thing.
Right.
When he was young, I think he was like 17, 18 years old. So something happened really young that because of what had happened with September 11th, there's kind of shady on what people can do and work on on the base.
Now I remember so after 9/11 there was these security protocols put in place.
Yes.
As a youth, he had an offense, and I think it had to do with joyriding a car or something.
He wasn't even driving. He
wasn't driving. He was a passenger in a car that somebody stole.
Yeah.
And he was 17, and this was like 20 years ago. All we had to do was get him a waiver.
Yes.
He hadn't committed any crime since. He's been a good citizen.
Yes.
And he was able to get that job on base and get his family off the beach.
Yes.
And that was one of those cases that Kurt always tries. He goes down to the beach at Howbush. He's like the king of Howbush. He goes down there and he meets these people. And he says, okay, what do you need? And then he calls up and gets the people to come out there and do the services. And if they're drug users, he chases them away. You've told me stories about young girls prostituting down there, and you chase them away.
Yes, prostitution, on the reef side. We had some prostitution at nighttime. We had a lot of drug use, shooting, killings, murders.
Really?
A lot of stuff in the past. It's not like that now, Bob. I mean, this is almost 15 plus years later. Howbush is a beautiful place today. But, it took somebody like you to take interest in what the Lions Club have been doing and my family been doing for all my life. When you came out there and you made that change for that family, I mean, he's a great dad, great grandfather, great husband, but he just and he didn't look homeless. I mean,
he was on the beach.
Yes, but
he was on the beach with his son and grandbaby.
Yes, because
he couldn't get this job, which he came over from the Big Island, and now he's out.
Yep.
He's out in the cold.
Yep.
But the community, which you live this, you are community oriented, and you do it better than anybody. This is your life, and you are the reason Howbush cleaned up. You don't want cars there. You go put in barriers. You don't get permission. You just do it. Oh, wait a minute! I did get permission, Bob. I did.
Yes,
it doesn't matter. You just do it. You don't let the BS slow you down.
Yeah.
And that's why you have such a loyal following in Ewa Beach.
Well, the great collaboration with the city, and state agencies is what gave me the capability to go out there, especially sacrifices from my family, my wife and my daughter. Of course. Allowing me to serve and do what I do for the community. But with this family, he ended up being getting $54 an hour. Then he went to end up being a foreman.
Didn't he go to Iraq or something?
No, they were supposed to send him. The last time I contact with him, he was supposed to go to Iraq, and he was going to be making way more money. But the idea was that you gave him an opportunity that nobody would come out there at 7 o'clock in the morning. And yes, it was a test because you left a note on my fence, and you said, "Call me anytime."
Yeah.
When somebody tells me that, I want to see if they're just, like my good old friend, Ufi,
Yes.
always said, "Don't rub a jaw or no rub a lip," and you didn't rub a lip. You came out.
Rub a jaw.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Just talk too much?
No, he's not putting up with your word. You say you're going to do something and you don't do it. You got to follow through. And that's something that I learned over the years, to follow through. And you did. This guy got his job back, his family off the beach. Now, he took over the company. The company seen how of great works that he do. And he never just be a laborer. He ended up being a foreman for this company, and seen how great worker he is. I mean, he wasn't a slacker. He was a hard-working man.
Yeah, but that whole story, that's a real story, a real person.
Yes.
And you made a difference in that guy's life. Because I wouldn't have gone down there unless you told me to. And that must give you a lot of gratification knowing you helped somebody. Removed, and he got his family off the beach into a home, and he's gainfully employed because you took your time out and went down there and you called in, not favors, but you called people who you knew could help.
Yes.
And you helped that guy. Now there's hundreds of situations where you want to help these people, but sometimes you can't help them, right? And you're kind of an expert on the homeless. Let me ask you about that, because we don't have much in Ewa Beach right now.
No.
We used to, though, right?
Yes.
Why don't we have it in Ewa Beach right now? Because everybody talks about homeless, and I don't see it. I see maybe one or two people by the Bank of Hawaii, but not camping out like before.
Well, like I said, we last night at the neighborhood board meeting, we're helping with Councilman Pine and Councilman Ron Manor in the mayor's office. We got the family by First Hawaiian Bank into the shelter of Hope New Beginning. Was a young man with his mom. His mom was 93 years old, and they've been there for almost 2.5 years. They got into the shelter, and the best part about this, she's so kalohi, real rugged lady now. She's not like she cannot walk, but you know what was her biggest thing of not having a place to stay, was just washing her hair in hot water. Something simple that we take for granted day to day. And that's what she really wanted. She said, "I just want to take a hot bath." Yeah. That's all she said. She didn't want the riches of the world. She just wanted to take a nice hot bath. And then now that she's at the shelter and she's doing well, the thing with homelessness, with anything, I don't have all the answers, but I can tell you what the Lions Club did in Hallbush was consistency. You go out there, you see their needs, you ask them what is their needs, and you try to meet their needs as best as possible. And then you bring in guys like you or the agencies that can help them. And that's how they want to get off. I mean, there's another family that I helped previously too, was Pat and Genesis Fountain. They're doing great. They have 2 great kids. There was one of the longest families that was down there in Hallbush, and they really wanted to get out, but they had no other way. And,
when you have so you're an expert in homeless through empirical action, meaning you're out there and you do it. You don't have any fancy degrees, any fancy book learning. You just have street smarts, talking to these people. You've been on the streets a little bit yourself. You as a youth, you had a foot in the dark side, so you're street savvy. So let me ask you this. We're told, guys like me, there's really 3 groups of homeless people. Yes. You have your boozers and drug addicts who only want to quit when they want to quit, right? And no program is going to help them. You got to touch their soul, I think, through Jesus. You tell me if I'm wrong. The second group, you got the mentally ill, which, God bless them. We got to pray for them. But if they don't want to take their meds, you can't force them, right? And then you got the third group, like the gentleman we helped, Bolo, who are temporarily down on their luck, but they're easy to lift out and give them a hand up, right? Whether it's a mom who just got evicted or is a victim of domestic abuse, they're easy to fix. Yes. And that seems to be one that, people are there for temporary, but they're gone. Yeah. But how do you solve these other 2? The boozers and the drugs and the mentally ill. That is the real challenge, right?
Well, the families that I encountered that was on drugs and alcohol, for me was just fellowshipping with them, Bob. Honestly, it's not an overnight thing. At Polo Community Park, the park by my house, it wasn't easy to get them. They gambled, they did drugs, they sold drugs at the park. It was just going there at night when they're doing their activity and sit down with a few of them and encourage them that what they're doing to the community, victimizing the community, doing all of this is sometimes they're not aware of their surroundings because they're so caught up in doing drugs and being alcoholics. By you showing you they care and they ask you, "Oh, Kurt, why are you here? Why are you bringing us McDonald's burgers and drinks and stuff like that?" Because if you don't get to know them, you're not going to be able to help them. Just like anything else. If the doctor don't know your illness, how is he going to heal you? So basically, it's a healing. The community needs healing. You go over there, you work with them. Not all is a success story, but a lot of them move on. That's the thing. That park right now have no homeless at all, not one.
It's a big park.
Yeah, it's a big park. And Hallbush, it's an up and down situation, but it's a work in progress. If you don't go over there and show your compassion, and you go over there with condemnation and ridicule and point the finger, you're not going to get help. And the best thing is our law enforcement. They're consistently working good with each other, and guys like you.
Let's talk about our police. They get I think you and I are of the same mindset. Our cops get a bad rap.
Oh, yes.
There are people who constantly harass them on Facebook and the internet, and these guys are good guys.
Yes, they are.
They're our brothers, our neighbors,
Yes.
right across the street from me as a police officer. They are the ones we call when we're in trouble. But you know what? They're human beings just like us.
You know, the thing is that I talked to one of my good friends I went to school with, and I told him, you know, society, I told him, what is so sad with society is that I asked him, when did the police took the place of the boogeyman?
Yeah.
He said, what do you mean, Kurt? I said, well, when we was young, parents would say, hey, watch out, the boogeyman gonna come. Now, I hear parents say, oh, watch out, don't call the police. The police is not the boogeyman. The police is our friend. We respect them. Not all of them do bad things, just like any other line of work. And you get the good guys that work good at flipping burgers, and you get the guys that just flip the burger on the ground, put them back on the grill. But the bottom line is this. There's a good officers and bad officers, but in Ewa Beach, without the weed and seed program, which is very dear to my heart, without the weed and seed program, we wouldn't have success stories in Hallbush, at parks, at beaches like that, because they're consistently working hand in hand with the Lions Club, with different agencies, and we get them help or whatever transition into homes. And you know, that's the best part is partnering with one another. Don't go out there and condemn law enforcement or condemn other people within the community, because that only causes division.
So let's talk about the Lions Club for a minute. You're
Yes.
president of that. You guys are probably, from what I can tell, the most active Lions Club in the state. And for folks at home, they do everything. So a family in Ewa Beach apartment burned out, lost everything. They held a fundraiser for this family. I don't know how much you raised, but it was the gesture and showing that the community cares. You do slow down, don't drink and drive. You do Easter egg, the big Easter egg roll, and for the kids down in, and these are low-income kids who are impacted by this in a positive way. You bring the kids in. You have the egg roll and the scavenger hunt and all these things, and you guys do so much. And of course, the crowning grace is your Christmas parade.
Amen. Yes.
That is a big deal that everybody comes to, and it goes through Ewa Beach. Every year I walk it because I have to. I'd like to ride in a car, but I walk it. But it's a great event, and you guys do so much more. The vision thing, which Lions are famous for.
Vision screening.
Old Sam.
Lion Sam. Yep, he's one of the. I think they did about between 14 to 15,000 kids. They find out the ailments on their eyes and stuff like that, send them home. Kids that cannot afford, or the parents cannot afford, they find donors to go and pay for their vision and even their glasses. Even their glasses, yeah. It's amazing. Lion Sam is one of the top guys in the state, And since 1965, when we was formed, we had a lot of people come before us. But one of the great empires that I always look up to, that was one of my mentors, was Dr. Dick Beamer.
Tell me about him.
He was a long time
He's
board
deceased
member.
now. Deceased now, but
yeah, he passed away. And we still miss him a lot.
He's like a legend down there.
Oh, let me tell you, he started all the major cleanups on North Road. Bob, even like the cleanups that you did with cutting the bushes. If you were to see the stuff that had there back then, you would be afraid to even start it. But he organized so much different agencies from city, state, government. We're talking about cars. Cars would line up on North Road, abandoned, bus stop, broken windows, bags. I mean, there's all kinds of crazy stuff. And it was just amazing how this man brought it all together. He was one of the people that I really respect in the community that really helped us a lot. I mean, it was really amazing to see that.
All right, we got about 11 minutes left, so I want to switch gears. You're a Campbell High School alumni.
Yes.
You're a member of the Alumni Association.
Yes.
You guys have a golf tournament coming up.
Yes.
So if you want to play golf, go to the Campbell Alumni Association website and sign up for a team. But we're going to talk about the situation, the overcrowding here. I want the cameraman to zoom in on this chart, if you would. Right now, the legislature is deciding where to spend money. Now, the Department of Education, these are Department of Education enrollment numbers, the DOE's enrollment numbers, and so they're provided by the DOE. As you can see, Campbell has 3,086 students. They're going to go to 3,500 in just a few years. Kapolei is 2,063. They're going to go to 2,373. These schools are both already over capacity, and what that means is there are more students than they can handle. Within several years, there'll be an increase of 769 students. They are the DOE's #1 priority, and the governor asked for a new building for them, $31 million. The legislature has cut that funding at this point. The legislature, however, is going to build a new high school over here in Maui, and it's going to be called a Kihei High School, and it's going to serve these two populations, Baldwin and Maui High. And you see 1408, 1800, 1400, 1448. They're actually going to lose 400 students in the next several years. So the legislature, and by the way, this is a need, and this is pork. This is DOE-centric need articulated. It's our #1 priority. This is put in by legislators who want a flashy brochure and have political muscle. And the reason it matters is because the new high school is so expensive. And so you have a finite amount of money. And if you build a new high school, it costs about $35 million a year for 4 or 5 years, which doesn't leave a whole lot of discretionary income. That's why the Maui High School, in my opinion, is an exercise in misfeasance, a deliberate, intentional expenditure of money while not addressing fully the need here. What we need here is a new building and a new high school, and we're not getting it. And if you go down here, let's look below, you see the capacity based on how many students they can support. Campbell currently is at 151% of capacity. It's going to go to 177. Kapolei's 118 is going to go to 136. While these schools, they're going to go up, they're already overcrowded, and they're both going to go up by 23 and 18% respectively. Baldwin's at 88% capacity, below capacity. It's going to drop even more. Maui's at a little over capacity at 120. It's going to drop below capacity. So in a few years, these schools will be below capacity, which is the reason we don't need to build a high school here. We need the high school here. But politics and pork barrel projects and legislative muscle and legislative pull are dictating that at this moment here, as I sit in the middle of April, it looks like Maui's getting a new high school and Campbell is going to be left with the crumbs. And that's what I've been fighting for. Your thoughts?
Well, for me, I graduated in '86, James Campbell High School. We've been talking about this for many years, how the anticipation of how much Campbell will be overcrowded. But if you haven't been on a campus and see how much kids are there, you wouldn't know. My thought with this is that people are saying that Campbell just going to have a building. It's not just about a building. It's about the things that's going to provide in the new building. A new science lab, a new culinary classes. There's stuff that is outdated at Campbell, period, too. Not just for the overcrowding, but it's going to help for the overcrowding, but it's not going to be the solution. We know that.
Right.
But have something right now, even like the new school that they try to build someplace out there, out our area, they don't even have a site for it.
Don't have a site selected.
Don't even have a site selected.
But they have a site selected for Maui,
Right.
which is a bad site.
Yeah.
It's on the side of a hill with a double-digit degree grade.
Yes, but to have money put aside, and that's what we heard, $5 million to put aside, and you don't even have a site, and then they're going to give them another addition, $40 million for that new school, and don't have a site.
Right.
To me, that's just putting Ewa Beach on the back burner.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why when we go out there and try to do community service and try to do projects out there to help the kids that is less fortunate, and we always pride ourselves in telling them that education is priority, try ask these kids that's sitting in 42 kids in a classroom that I was in that only could barely have with one teacher 15 kids.
But they have a Gemco fan pumping that nice warm air around, right?
It's
no AC.
It's just like, okay, right now your doctor tell you that you need surgery, open surgery, right? And then he do the surgery, but he don't patch you up and stitch you. He just give you Band-Aid till you go home. I mean, you're going to get an infection. Right now, this is an infection.
Yeah, it's an emergency situation.
It is.
The problem we have is the people say, is it either or? And it is yes, it is, because the Maui project is a want to have. It's a nice to have. It's not needed. In fact, it'll burden the system with an unneeded high school to please some politicians. It's pork is what it is. Where this is a need. I'm a Republican, okay? I got no juice in the building. Campbell's going to get some money, okay? But it's not because of me. They're going to get it because they need it. But the need is being drowned out by this want, this misfeasance that the legislature is perpetrating on the public. And it's our kids, my kids and your kids, literally, we have kids in the high school, are going to suffer.
You know, for me, is that what I couldn't understand when I found out, because I'm not a politician, but I couldn't understand when the governor gave no money to Kihei High School, gave 31 million to Campbell High School. It went into the House and got cut 15 million.
Right.
And that's all we got. And they went to the Senate and didn't get anything.
Well, it tells you it's not needed. When the governor puts his budget and he put 0 for Kihei, it's not needed. But he put 15 million, 31 million for this building. And you're saying correctly that we cut it.
Yeah.
We did. Cut it in the House by 15, cut it in the Senate, cut it down to 0. It's heartbreaking and heart-wrenching because we talk about, you hear this building all the time, equality and equity and funding, equity of funding, and you know what? It's all shabai. We need to get politicians out of DOE projects. Let that be done based on merit, enrollment, and need, not political whim, because then you end up with what we have.
Yes.
Kids in Campbell, no seats, and we're going to build a new high school. That's like if Castle High School had a leaky roof, the solution is to build a fence around Molokai High. It makes no sense.
Well, we have our online petition. We started at the beginning of the year when they needed the fans and whatnot. The Lions Club came together and tried to do a petition. We got some fans and stuff for Campbell, and we started talking to the principal and the vice principal over there, which they're doing a great job out there.
Yes, they are.
So when we had about 1,000 names online and written, I took it to Sylvia Luke, because they said that was the person to talk to. And she was very nice. We met with her, gave her the petition. And you know, she told me and the club members that was there that they didn't know that we had an overcrowding problem. Okay, they didn't know we had an overcrowding problem. Nobody told them. Nobody told them they had an overcrowding problem. They only said that we needed AC. So I said, well, this petition is coming to you to letting you know that's what we have, an overcrowding problem. We're not here for AC. AC is nice, but we need rooms, we need buildings. And I asked them, and I asked all of these guys to just do me a favor, make arrangements with the principal. If you guys really want to know, come out there, visit the school and see what these kids do on a day-to-day basis and see what they're suffering in. Because when I went to Campbell, all the bathrooms wasn't open. All the bathrooms are open now, and it's still, they have hard time. They do a great job keeping them, clean and good. But at that time, the reason why we never have all the bathrooms is because it was the rotation, right?
Yeah.
But it's sad. It's sad.
44 portables. 44 portables.
Yes.
There's no room to put any more.
Yeah.
And you know what time they have to start lunch at Campbell High School?
Yeah.
About 9:30 in the morning.
Yes.
Because they have 3,000 students, they have to run through the chow line. So they got to start lunch at 9:30. So every half hour they can bring a different. 9:30 they start lunch. And when you get up to 3,500, all the social ills, teen pregnancy, alcohol abuse, drug use, teen suicide, on and on, extracurricular activities. The list of social ills, they won't be able to participate in sports because there's not enough jerseys or rooms.
No, but the funny part is in 1986, they took away portables. The state said that portables was insufficient for classrooms. We're going to build buildings. And they took them away. It was by the library where the agriculture is now. And we had about 6 portables. They took it away, moved it out of there, and now they're bringing portables back because there's no buildings.
And on the insufficient comment and portables, we're going to have to leave it there, folks. I have been blessed today to just touch the surface with Mr. Kurt Fevella, President of the Ewa Beach Lions Club. My name is State Representative Bob McDermott, and until we meet again, aloha and a hui ho.